one couple, they said, okay, give 25 to read. It takes a long.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the Hot Springs City Board of Directors agenda meeting. We'll be preparing for the board meeting to be held on April 18th. And I'll go ahead and turn it over to Mr. Frazier.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So our first item on the consent agenda is to consider a resolution appointing a person to the Civil Service Commission.
Yes, actually, these first two items, board members and Mr. Frazier, will be decided following your interviews, and of course, whenever you adjourn into executive session and come out with your nominations for the Civil Service and the Historic District Commission. So items 1 and 2.
Any questions on that? Thank you. Next is a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute a lease agreement with Historic Downtown Farmers Market.
Thank you very much, Mr. Frazier. There will be a presentation by the current president, Mr. Doc Klein, about the farmers market activities from last year, just to bring you up to speed with the way the program went. And then the agenda item is actually to renew the ground lease at the Farmers Market Pavilion to the historic downtown farmers market in exchange for providing the city's farmers market program. We don't provide our own, but we allow them to have a lease at that location, so they will provide our city's program. And it will be pretty much the same as last year. They've been managing it since 2009. And we believe it's in the city's best interest to continue the relationship. They offer a farmers market year-round, which a lot of people don't really realize that there's summer dates and winter dates. The summer season is May through October on Saturdays 7 to 12 and Tuesdays 4 to 7. And then the winter market is also offered November through April on Saturdays only, starting at 9 o'clock to 12. And when the farmers market is not open, the pavilion can be reserved by the public. And in addition, the city has the right to use it for city-sponsored events and programs. The fiscal impact, the city will continue to pay the utilities and provide landscape services in partnership with the Garland County Master Gardeners at this location. And I checked the utilities. Of course, they're used year-round, and the electric and the water average to about $1,000 a year, and then the mowing contract is around $2,000. So to provide that beautiful facility year-round is about $3,000 a year just in utility and grounds maintenance costs.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No questions? Okay.
Yes, I have one. When is the Master Gardener flower sale?
I think it's April 29th, I'd heard.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, I believe so. It's right before the market opens full time. They have that Saturday before.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Next is a resolution approving a contract with Square One Construction for the street construction of Placid Street.
Thank you, Mr. Frazier, members of the board. And back in February of this year, the board approved an ordinance accepting a right-of-way to construct a new street, and subsequently after that approved the street naming of Placid Street, which is part of a street construction that we're doing in conjunction with the new traffic signal to be installed at Airport Road in West St. Louis. During the week of March, bid packages were sent to 10 different vendors, with 5 vendors responding for the construction of this road. The vendors responding were Square One of Hot Springs, Township Builders of Little Rock, Redstone Construction of Little Rock, Online Construction of Hot Springs, and Burkhalter Technologies of North Little Rock. Square One of Hot Springs was the lowest bidder in the amount of $65,000. Therefore, staff's recommendation is award this contract for the construction of Placid Street as part of the traffic signalization project. The 2017, it is included in 2017 budget in the street account 230. Any questions?
No? Thank you, Danny.
Thank you.
And next is a resolution approving to reserve a street name located in Wildwood Gardens subdivision.
Thank you, sir. Denny McFate, Public Works Director again. Mr. Michael Wright, developer of Wildwood Gardens subdivision, is requesting the naming of a section of street proposed to be developed in this new phase of the subdivision of Wildwood Gardens, which is located off Wildwood Circle. This action would approve the street name only and does not obligate the city to accept any part of the street for city maintenance. Therefore, staff recommends approving the street named as Coneflower Court.
Any questions? Okay. Next is a resolution authorizing a memorandum of understanding between the City of Hot Springs and Park Avenue Community Association.
Thank you, sir. Members of the board again. The Packer Group wishes to improve the streetscapes in the Park Avenue corridor by installing decorative street lights along the roadway from Whittington Avenue to Circle Drive. These amenities will be both beneficial to the Park Avenue residences and to the City of Hot Springs by enhancing the streetscape and further encouraging development of the historic Park Avenue corridor. Packer responsibilities in the new memorandum of understanding include the following. They will purchase the street lights and anchor bolts. They will provide the wiring for the street lights, and provide meter and pole installation to power the street lights, including the initial power hookup. The City of Hot Springs' responsibility will be to provide the street light foundations and install the anchor bolts, install the street lights and maintain them, and pay the electricity bill, and provide and install necessary conduits for the street light power and wiring. Once Packer purchases these items, they will be their responsibility to turn them over to the city, and they will become property of the city. And the approximate cost is somewhere between $7 and $9 a month per light, and they're wanting to do one light at this time. And this will be for a period of 2 years.
What type of light is this again?
It's a decorative street light with a single globe on the top.
Okay.
It's real pretty. They tried to get it, to match what was there at one time.
There should be a picture of it in your packet.
Is that
Just one right now?
Just one is all
They're
all they
like
have funds for right now.
Piece or something, yeah.
Is that a light up
Six
or down?
figures, Larry.
Is the light up or down?
It's
It's
down.
up. It's
The
a globe on
beam
top.
shows up rather than
No.
down?
It'll illuminate out and around and down.
No.
Okay, but not up.
Correct.
Okay.
Right.
Thank you.
And the cost of them is about $4,500 that they'll be investing in each one.
It's a big commitment.
Lot of
That's great.
fundraising to do.
Thank you. So next is a resolution approving a certain street name located in an unplatted subdivision. This is Sakura Court.
Sakura Court.
Yeah.
Mr. and Mrs. William Staton, who own a residence off the end of Tater Place, are requesting the naming of a section of their drive leading to their residence to clear up 911 addressing issues that they currently have. This action would approve the street name only, does not obligate the city to accept any part of the street for city maintenance. This will allow a clear 911 addressing of their property. The private street will remain private and is to be maintained by the owner afterwards. Street naming only. Any questions?
Thank you. Next is a resolution approving a contract with Cranford Construction for cold milling and installing hot mix asphalt.
Thank you, sir. Bid specifications was sent to 9 vendors with 2 vendors responding. The vendors responding were Cranford Construction of Little Rock and Redstone Construction of Little Rock. Cranford Construction was the lowest bidder. Staff's recommendation is to award the contract for cold milling and hot mix asphalt to Cranford Construction. The estimated amount of the contracts are approximately somewhere between $800,000 and $1 million, depending on how much our utilities uses them. And with this, ASC will allow them to utilize them as well for their repairs, major repairs.
And Denny, can you remind the board again when that would start, that work?
Probably within the next 2 months, and I think the very next board meeting, we're going to be bringing a paving street list to you for approval. So once we get that approval, we get the POs secured for this, and then it'll be up to their scheduling, I would think, hopefully within the next 8 weeks.
So they get the contract to do the street work that we'll be doing this year?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
This year, we did the bidding a little different. We put in the milling and the asphalt all in one contract, and we actually really got better prices per ton than we had last year.
That's good.
Just on this related topic, could Terry release the streets that we did this last year that we've redone?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Sure.
We have that. We can give it
Get
to you.
another press release. It might have been done at one time, but
Absolutely.
I can give that to Terry and ask her to.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you.
All right. Next is a resolution expressing the willingness of the City of Hot Springs to utilize Federal Aid Transportation Alternatives Program funds for sidewalks at Hot Springs High School and Junior High School.
His name's Gary.
Thank you. The there's a big need for sidewalks over on Emory and 7th Street around the high school campus. And as you know, the school district is getting ready to build about a $30 million junior high school facility on that same campus, which will add another 550 students to that campus, bringing it up to about 1,500 students there every day. And a lot of the students walk to school, and there are a few skinny sidewalks here and there with a lot of gaps, but a lot of the students have to walk in the ditches or in the street. So we met with the school district, and they said that this was their highest priority as far as sidewalks around schools would be to do something about that. So we would like your permission to apply for a grant for approximately $200,000 of sidewalk work in that area, and the school district has agreed to pay the matching, 20% matching for the 80-20 grant. So there would be the cost of the city would just be that our engineering department and construction management would manage the project, do the design work, but the cash would come from the school district. So
this project is located in my district, and I frequently get requests or have had requests from people for more sidewalks. I'd be curious to see where we're going to come up with those sidewalks on 7th Street, because in some cases there's just, not a lot of right-of-way there. But if we can do that, that would be a good thing.
Great. Thank you.
Next is a resolution approving the purchase for a wastewater collection Caterpillar backhoe loader from J.A. Riggs.
All right. Thank you, Mayor Frazier and Board. This is staff is recommending a purchase of a 2017 Caterpillar. It's a model 420 FD. It's a backhoe loader with a hydraulic thumb on it. It'll be purchased through the Arkansas State contract, and the thumb portion will come through the NJPA contract. This will be it'll be used in our wastewater collection division. It'll be replacing a 2001 New Holland backhoe that simply just wore out. The total cost of the backhoe with the thumb is $102,229.17, and we budgeted for that in our 2017 CIP fund.
Any questions about the backhoe? No? Thank you. Next up is a resolution approving the purchase of a wastewater lift division Chevrolet Silverado four-wheel drive pickup truck. Regular cab truck with a Knapheide body.
Okay, and this is a request for 2017 Chevrolet Silverado 3500 HD four-wheel drive, regular cab, as you said. This will have a NAFTA body on it. It's an all-aluminum weld type body. That body will last us a long time. We'll be able to take that body off and use it on future trucks, too. So we're going to purchase that through the NJPA contract, and the utility, it's going to be used in the wastewater lift division. It is going to be replacing a 2009 Ford F-250 crew truck. We're going to purchase that through using the 2017 CIP budget. The total cost of that is $70,578.85.
Any questions? Okay. Bear with me. We have a couple more pieces of equipment here. Next is a resolution approving the purchase of a 2018 Kenworth T370 truck with a 10-foot dump body.
Okay. I won't repeat that part again. It'll be used, we're purchasing this from the National Auto Group fleet using the NJPA contract. It'll be used in our wastewater collection division. It's going to be replacing a 1997 Ford F700 5-yard dump truck. And again, that truck is absolutely wore out. The total cost of this dump truck with the body is $95,086, and we did budget for that in the CIP funds for 2017.
Any questions? Okay. Next is to consider a resolution approving the purchase for Water Distribution Division of a mini excavator from J.A. Riggs.
Okay, staff is requesting approval of this Mini X. This will be used in the water division in the distribution field. It'll be replacing a 2003 Caterpillar 416D backhoe. The total cost of this Mini X is $77,927.73, and we did budget for that in the 2017 CIP.
Any questions about the excavator? No? Okay. Next is a resolution approving the purchase for a Water Distribution Division 2018 Kenworth T370 truck with a 10-foot dump body.
All right, this is basically the exact same truck as for the wastewater division. This one will be used in the water division. It's a dump truck. It's going to be replacing a 1999 GMC 5-yard dump truck. Total cost of it's $95,086. And we did budget for that in 2017 CIP.
Any questions about that purchase? Thank you.
Sorry to hit you all at one time, but we got to get these in kind of by the end of April because if we don't, we miss the window. So, all right.
Just glad we don't have to memorize the VINs. Okay. So now we're on to new business. First item under new business is a resolution approving the extension of Hot Springs Municipal Water and Wastewater Service to the crossing at Thornton Ferry Phase 2.
You've heard of this before. The applicant applied for this some months ago and then withdrew their request and in an attempt to perhaps annex the property into the city, but that attempt apparently failed, and now they want to come back. This was presented to the board initially before, it never came to a board meeting, but through the agenda meeting process before the new ordinance was put into place. So that's why we're bringing it back to you. It was for more than 20 units, so the staff did not make a decision. Those, under the old policy, those went directly to the board. So they are asking for approval to build 11 two-story apartment buildings, 16 units in each building, which would be 176 apartment units. There are some sewer mains that were extended from a phase. There was a phase 1 that was already built that has 112 units. This 176 would bring it to the initial request, 288 total units. That planning commission approval has expired since, so they'll have to go back through the planning commission and ask for approval to do that if there's water and sewer available. When they built phase 1, they did extend the sewer main on into phase 2, but the water main stopped pretty much at the boundary of phase 1 and phase 2. So the project, in my opinion, would require additional extension of the water mains to add fire hydrants and proper fire protection to the site. And you may recall that there was the sewer pump station down the road from this location is not sized adequately to handle these additional units. So the pumps there would have to be upsized to handle this load. And the developer has indicated that if they obtained approval for this phase 2, that they would pay the cost to have that pump station upsized properly. So that's what this matter is. It will come to your attention. The owner will probably be represented by B&F Engineering and perhaps by his attorney. I don't know. At the board meeting.
Gary, does the current ordinance provide any time frame for grandfathering in past actions?
Not that I'm aware of.
The city has had no formal action on it, correct? The city has had no formal action on this before.
2005.
So, and the current ordinance does not have a grandfather clause in it for past actions?
No, I don't. No, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Gary, on the 110 unit property, are they on a master meter or individual meters?
I'm pretty sure they are on individual meters per building. They have 16-unit buildings. One other thing I forgot to mention, that also since this, that first phase has been sold to another owner now. So this remaining phase 2 would, and phase 1 and phase 2 would have different owners, so they would have to have different water accounts.
Right. I was just wondering, what the usage is for the 110 units, and if we could apply that and average that to the 176 units, I think you said, we might have a problem with having enough water for them.
Well, we had the applicant have our water consultant, Christ Engineers, evaluate that and obtain from the local fire department what the demand would be for those units for firefighting and for water flow. And so Christ Engineers has indicated that there is adequate water pressure and capacity there to serve those units. In the same way, we had RJN evaluate the wastewater capacity, and that's when it was discovered that this lift station would have to be upsized.
Thank you.
Council, I'd like to ask the propriety of moving this out of the process that was defined by an ordinance that says city staff is going to make the determination, especially since there is no grandfathering in of past considerations in the ordinance, whether this is even the proper venue, that the staff should make the determination first, and then the board acts on whether the action has been arbitrary or capricious.
This application was received prior to the passage of your ordinance in October. They were going under the guidelines of Ordinance 5555. It was on the board's agenda because it was more than 20 units as required by that ordinance. There was some discussion about trying to accomplish some voluntary annexation. That was the reason that it was pulled off of the board's agenda.
Okay. So I'm still asking the question, what's the proprietary, what is proper about keeping it on this agenda?
I think that this is a board's decision because of the way in which the application came in and the way that it was taken off of the agenda at that time.
Did we take it off the agenda? Or did the applicant take it off the agenda?
After a discussion with the applicant took it, asked that it be postponed.
I drove out there when at the time that was on the agenda. There are, I believe, 5 commercial properties that separate that property from being contiguous to the city in one direction. And if you go directly across the street, there's one property that keeps it being contiguous by way of the lake. So it's close, but not in. So I know one thing. As a former county judge, that Thornton Ferry Road is getting awfully busy. But that's not our problem.
Yeah, right. That's right. And so we're taking on that problem by putting our services out further. I'm not trying to discuss what should be a board discussion, but I am questioning the propriety of it even being on this agenda. That's really my question. I don't know how we put this on the agenda and not make exceptions for others who have come to us who we don't even know about, who have discussed their plans previously and now want a consideration under the old ordinance. I don't know the answer to that. That's why I'm asking.
I'm not aware that were any others that were on the board's agenda and then were removed based on a discussion of this type.
Okay.
I'd like to suggest that.
Commission? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm asking what's the propriety of even having this on the agenda until after staff has made a determination?
I think it's a good question. What I would like to suggest is that I and the city attorney look at the new ordinance, because sometimes there'll be some boilerplate in there that addresses this, that basically says it supersedes any previous ordinances, that sort of thing. And I think there's a legal question here. We probably should take a closer look at the ordinance and have a discussion about it. Does that sound reasonable?
Sure. Is it on the agenda for now or not?
I think that depends on what you guys decide.
Let's just leave it on the agenda, and y'all can let us know next
Yeah.
Tuesday. We
Okay.
can change it at that time if somebody wants to.
Well, if we're going to change it, that means we've got to make a motion to get it off the agenda, which is a negative effect rather than a positive. If we table it today till the homework is done, then we continue in a positive direction.
I think that this is a procedural issue, and it is my advice
Okay.
that it be placed on the agenda.
Fine. Put it on the agenda, as far as I'm concerned.
Thank you.
Okay.
Any other questions about it? All right. Next is a resolution awarding a bid for Arkansas Highway and Transportation Department Highway 7 South utility relocation to Diamond Construction Company.
You know about Highway 7 South is being widened from 2 lanes to 5 lanes plus bike lanes plus sidewalks. So, and it's already a very tight corridor with businesses built up close to the roadway and also businesses and homes. And then also we have terrain issues with part of it being up a steep hill and part of it going down on the opposite side to the lake. So it's a tough location, but the utility companies, all of them, including our water and sewer utility, have to move our utilities out of their current location to get them out to the edge of the right-of-way or outside the right-of-way. And that, we have designed that. We've had our designs approved by the Highway Department. We had a bid, advertisement for bid. We had a bid opening with 2 bidders. And the low bid is $1,827,747 to Diamond Construction Company, which is a reputable firm that we've used before. So our engineer is recommending, and the staff is recommending, that we award the bid to Diamond Construction Company for this job. It's, I might just mention here briefly that it's, part of it is paid out of the sewer budget and part out of the, oh, here it is, $1,125,400 from the water budget and $702,347 from the wastewater budget. Both of those items were budgeted because we knew this was coming down the pike, and we had estimated that it would cost somewhere around $2.2 or more $million. So we had money in the budget to do that.
Does that project go from the city limits to 290?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
To the Baptist Church at Highway 290.
Okay, thanks.
Hey, Gary, they completed all the land acquisition?
No, I don't think that. I think there's a few left. They're having to use eminent domain to obtain some of the properties, but they're very close, and they have told us to go ahead and start work. So they're close enough that we have all agreed to start on the Highway 290 end and work in toward town. And the Highway Department has already had their, I think, let's see, no, that's not right. They're going to have their bid letting in the first part of May for the roadway work. So they're going to be right on our heels as soon as we can get out of the way.
Thank you.
Any other questions on that? Thank you. Moving on is a resolution awarding a contract for construction on Arkansas Highway and Transportation Department related projects to RJN Group.
Thank you. The Highway 7 South and Highway 270 West, we expect, is going to be coming soon on the heels of Highway 7 South, so that's why we've kind of grouped these together. But we need we don't have enough staff to provide the kind of close daily observation that's going to be required on these highway utility relocation projects. They're going to be moving at a fast pace, and they are we're going to have water, electric, gas, telephone, all working together simultaneously in the same time period, trying to relocate our services. We've had several meetings with each of those utilities, and we have agreed on a plan of you go here and we go here and we go here, but still it's tight quarters, and we need full-time observation there to make the job go properly. So we have done a rate and rank and selected RJN Group because of their previous experience in similar projects. So we're recommending that you allow us to award them a contract for $216,555 to provide this kind of construction observation that we need.
Gary,
questions. Thank
can
you
you
very much.
confirm, is there's inspection services with that as well?
Right.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
Next is an ordinance repealing Ordinance 3866, an ordinance establishing a Hot Springs and Garland County Beautification Commission and for other purposes.
Thank you, Mr. Frazier. This item, as you said, will in effect repeal the ordinance that created the Hot Springs Garland County Beautification Commission, and that is one part of the action. There'll be a resulting follow-up that will form the Keep Hot Springs Beautiful Commission, and that is also in line more so with the there's 12 other affiliates that are part of the Keep America Beautiful, and you have Keep Arkansas Beautiful. And what we have here is to clean up our boards and commissions. The Beautification Commission has in effect been defunct since 2014. The funding was a 50-50 split between the city and the county. You had 22 members, so you had the county judge appointed 11 and the city manager appointed 11. So it was a rather large commission. And as the funding pie was dwindled, of course, the commission itself, a lot of those activities dwindled as well. However, to date, the Solid Waste Department has picked up a lot of those activities. We still do the reporting to Keep Arkansas Beautiful and Keep America Beautiful. But what we'd like to do is begin the process of forming this affiliation with Keep America Beautiful. And that's a little bit more involved. It's a 4-month process to go through the accreditation and to essentially draw up that commission with those members so that they are a working board. And obviously, we'd like to scale that back from 22 to something manageable like 5 to 7 members. Yeah. And but that'll be another item that'll be coming forth. So essentially, what this does is repeals the Beautification Commission with looking to the future to bring a Keep Hot Springs Beautiful Commission to follow.
This is the City of Hot Springs.
Yes.
I'm familiar with the history behind the formation of the Beautification Commission, and they were just victims of their own success. And what's happened is that the efforts on behalf by the city, through the Solid Waste Department, as well as the fact that, Gene, when this ordinance was first adopted, there wasn't even a Parks Department. Traffic Services used to be open, used to take care of parks. And the county didn't have an environmental services department either. They just had landfill. But, through the efforts of the city and county, a lot of the stuff the Beautification Commission used to do is now being done by the city and county. So it just, it's outlived its usefulness. Plus, I can tell you as a former county judge, those appointments were always crossing my desk because they had a hard time keep getting people to serve when you have that many members.
All right. Any other questions on that one? And that concludes our new business, Madam Mayor.
There's one more on the...
Oh, there is? Yes, that's correct. An ordinance number 5128 authorizing a franchise for the operation of specialty transit service, extending term of agreement for 2017 and other purposes.
Yes, this is Bobby Stokes. This is the horse-drawn carriage. This item comes to the board annually as part of a renewal. However, the initial franchise agreement with Mr. Stokes, it had been amended a couple times over the past, but it had been since 2002 that the agreement had really been reviewed. And in doing so, we felt it was in everyone's interest to do so, and met with Mr. Stokes, brought up a few items to him to ensure that those are things that need to be incorporated into the current franchise. One which, if you have riders that have issues or complaints, there needs to be a method for them to get those back to my office so we can go through the Transportation Advisory Committee and deal with those in a expedient fashion. So that's one of the items. There's also in the personnel, how they're to be dressed and things like that. So it really does just kind of tighten things up that have been in effect since 2002. And it does also deal with the lighting.
Thank you.
The lighting
only
is...
way when you're driving north that you can tell that there's one on the other side is the lights behind it shine under the leg and under the carriage.
Yes. Yes. Miss JJ's Pedicab is a prime example of we give them feedback on lighting, and now you can see them everywhere. So
Thank you for your work on that. Appreciate it. And that does conclude our business under the agenda meeting. Yes.
Okay. Now we will go into the special meeting of the Board of Directors. I hereby call this special meeting to order. Please call the roll, Lance.
yes, Davidson,
Here.
Jones,
Here.
Williams,
Here.
Ramick, here, Folly,
Here.
Clark.
Here. We'd like to approve the agenda. May I have a motion to approve as presented?
So move.
Second?
Second?
Okay. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. All right. Our item of business is to consider applicants for the Hot Springs Civil Service Commission and the Hot Springs Historic District Commission. So we have introductions of the applicants. Is that
Yeah,
you, Lance?
I will do that.
All right.
I see, well, I guess we can start with Historic District. It's the shortest one of the other
I
group.
believe he's here.
The Historic District Commission, I see Mr.
Covington?
Clyde Covington. He has applied for a position on the Historic District. That's a 5-member commission, and they are 3-year terms. And that they've had a couple resignations within that commission, and they do a pretty steady bit of work between those, and they do have quorum issues to, in fact, carry out that business. So with that, Mr. Covington, I believe you'll come up.
This is for the commissioners themselves, not the alternates, correct?
Yes, that's
Thank
correct.
you.
Hi, Clyde. If you could say your name and your address, please.
I'm Clyde Covington, 112 Orchard Street, Hot Springs.
Okay. Could you just tell us briefly why you would like to be on the Historic Commission?
Well, for one thing, I'm a native of Hot Springs, lived most of my many years here in Hot Springs. Worked for the Hot Springs School District 42 years, mostly as a guidance counselor at Old Central Junior High, right down in the Historic District. Since I retired, I've been very active with the Historical Society. Excuse me. And I'm excited about the direction Hot Springs is going in. I think in the downtown area, you just can't drive from week to week. It's exciting to see what's happened. And I've discovered there was this opening, and I thought if I could bring anything to the table, I would be glad to help, because I want to keep us going in that same direction that we're going now. And I do have a pretty good knowledge of Hot Springs history.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
I think so.
Any questions, anyone?
That's great.
No, he's an authority.
You're the authority.
All the
Well,
answers.
thank you, and thank you for volunteering to give your time and energy to this.
Okay. And thank you to all of you, too.
We'll meet after this in executive session, and then he'll be notified, is that
Yeah,
right?
we will.
Okay, we'll notify you, so.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, next up, we have the Civil Service Commission. You have one opening, and you do have 4 applicants. I will say that Mr. Schwass, he had applied at the last opening. He's unable to make it. However, I think most of you remember Mr. Schwass and his background and credentials. So I believe he did send an email. I believe you might have a copy of an email that states that he's still willing to obviously serve. He does currently serve on our Airport Advisory Committee, but that is Mr. Edward Frank Schwass. So next up on the list, we have Mr. James Frierson, who is an applicant for the Civil Service Commission.
Good afternoon. If you just state your name and address.
James Frierson. I live at 213 Bluebell Court, Hot Springs, Arkansas.
And tell us a little about why you'd like to be on the Civil Service Commission.
Well, I was, after seeing the position post, I was just thinking, you live in this city. I've had an opportunity to move in several other locations, but I chose to stay here in Hot Springs. I currently work in Little Rock. I'm stationed in Little Rock, but I also take care of the state of Arkansas and Oklahoma with the CenterPoint Energy Natural Gas Company. Mm-hmm. I'm the safety director for those 2 locations. I help write rules, policies, procedures. In my past, I was district op manager for Hot Springs and half of the state of Arkansas. So I felt like that with my background in service to a company that employed, educated, terminated, and all of the things that it takes to run a business, why not take those skills and do your best to help fund city government? So I know it's a volunteer position, but again, I've had an opportunity to move to Houston several times, but it's just something about Hot Springs that's kind of infectious. It just sticks with you. So I made a decision to commute, and now I have an opportunity. I have an office here. I can office out of here as well as 2 states. So I bring up a lot of things to the company. I help write policies and procedures for our company, write rules, and all of those types of things. So
Very good.
that's my story.
Thank you. Questions, board? Anybody? Yep. Rick?
Mr. Frierson, thank you for volunteering. With all your travel, would you be able to make all the Civil Service Commission meetings?
I set my own schedule. I can, there might be a couple of times, but for the majority of the time, I'm in charge of me. I set my own schedule. I can.
He's like you, Rick.
Yeah.
You're retired.
I'm in the same boat.
Larry, did you have something? Or
No, I was just going to say, James, as I recall, you were one of my students in state and local government
Yes.
class I taught at the community college.
Yes.
Did you pass?
Yes, I did. And hey,
Now, I always ask this of my former students, so I'm going to put you on the spot.
yes.
See how much you remember. What is the only state that has a unicameral legislature? Somebody just whispered under their breath. Nebraska.
Nebraska.
I always do that to all my former students. So, no, that's a
Okay.
You're going to ask every applicant the same question?
no. Just he's the only former student. But I would say this: that state and local government class that I taught for 18 years at the community college is a required class to get a criminal justice degree. So I had a lot of former police officers.
Yeah, I remember. I had a
Excuse
few
me,
in there
not
with me.
former, current police
Yes.
officers. I'm the former. A lot of current police officers took my class.
Yes.
So I'm very familiar with the number.
There were a couple in there when I was in that class. Yes.
take it to you. Well, thank you very much for your time and your willingness to serve.
You're welcome.
We will let
Thank
you know.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I have a question. I notice Mr.
Oh.
Frierson's on the Park and Recreation Board. Does he
Oh.
have to get off of that board?
Yes.
For this commission, he would, yes.
Okay. You understand that? Okay.
The term up on that commission?
I've served on that commission
Long time, yeah.
long time. So,
Yeah.
Gene would probably not like it, but you do what you got to do. Okay.
Well, and the same thing would apply to the previous applicant, and as well as to Dante, who's going to get up in a minute. If one of you three were selected, you would have to, make a choice to accept. If you accepted this, then to resign from the advisory committee that you're on.
I understand that.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
All righty. Next up, we have Mr. LaDante Walker. And as you had mentioned, he currently serves on our Transportation Advisory Committee.
Yes, I think so.
Tell us your name and address, please.
Okay, I'm LaDante Walker. I live at 130 White Street here in Hot Springs.
Okay. Tell us a little about why you would like to be on this commission.
Okay, when I first applied, I was excited because once I said I would volunteer for the city, I kind of went to the website and looked at all of the committees and commissions, and I looked at the ones that I thought more kind of correlate with the work that I'd done and the people that I was in constant communication with. And the three or four that stood out, it was transportation, civil service, housing authority, and because I like the trails, parks and trails, because it has to do with roadways, sidewalks, and the trail that I use going to and from work. I did think that I could apply for them all, but once I looked over it, I noticed that if I was on one, I couldn't be on the other. So that would probably put me in a position that I would completely put it in your hands. I'm here committed, and hopefully this reinforces my commitment to volunteer for the city. And I mean, if it was a different format and just a room and you ask, okay, who wants to be on the bathroom committee? If I raised my hand, because people say that the 2 C's, confident or cocky. Mm-hmm. I think I could do anything I put my mind to. Whether that's good enough or not, I'm not sure. I've been here twice, and I saw 2 people now today, and when I applied for transportation, to see 2 people apply for this position, and I'm totally okay with saying I'm probably the least qualified to do it, but I definitely would say determination. I'm right there with them, and my willingness to learn and to be on it. I know the importance of being, well, not the importance of being on, but the importance of the 2 departments that the civil service kind of work with. The police department and fire department are, I say, kind of like life insurance. It's something that you need to have, but if you use it, you're probably in a situation that you don't want to be in, but it's great to have. So I know that it's kind of definitely my injury. If I wasn't doing what I was doing and I was capable of doing it physically, I even applied, I think, 5 or 6 years ago, and that's when I realized that it is a physical. I was thinking about going back to school and I wanted to be a detective my whole life. I like solving mysteries or crimes or something. But other than the criminal justice, they told me, actually, I applied also for Arkansas State Trooper. Mm-hmm. And I don't know who he was, but he called and he told me, because I put in the remarks that I was in a wheelchair, and he tried everything that he could to get around the physical. I mean, he went as far as, if we lay you on the ground, could you do 1 push-up? So that kind of definitely put me in the area. If I had a choice, it would really be hard to choose between transportation and civil service, because I'm kind of 50-50 on both. But I know that if I didn't get this position, I am on the transportation, and my number one goal is to volunteer to help the city out. So
thank you. That is admirable. Thank you. We appreciate your current service and volunteering.
And I hope
looking
you
at
don't
another
get tired
one
of me, because if another vacancy, I may apply for it too. No,
you just like to come down and see us. I know. And we don't have cookies or anything.
Yeah.
So thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, yes, and the last time, I think I emailed as many as I could, but I forgot to say thank you for the opportunity. I was nervous. The next day after I applied, my boss asked, how did it go? I told her, I think I blacked out. I don't remember anything that I said, but I know I was being honest, one, and it came from the heart. I use my pastor's philosophy whenever I commit myself to anything, and I'm trying to relate that to people. I always pray, and I mean, that's what I was doing back there. Instead of going over, because I had a week to think about this position, and I did, but back there, I always pray before I speak to anyone to pray to God that it's less of me and more of him, so you could get kind of what, this, I guess, I don't want to say how bad I want it, because how committed I am to serving, and I don't want to, give you any false information, or I'm not going to say that I think I could do anything that I honestly don't think I could do. So
You're hard in it.
yes.
Yes. Thank you.
So thank you.
Thank you.
For the opportunity.
Thanks.
Okay, and finally, we have Mr. Ronald Ball, who is applying also for the Civil Service Commission. Mr. Ball.
See, I was gonna vote for fries. It's stuck now.
Hi, your name and address, please.
Yes, ma'am. Ron Ball. I live at 245 Santa Carlos Point here in Hot Springs. I also have a residence at 1319 Airport Road, Hot Springs. I've been in law enforcement for 40 years, currently employed as a senior chief of police at the Arkansas Career Training Institute. I served 29 years with the state police, various agency. I did various jobs with the state police, including SWAT, sniper, internal affairs, and things of that nature. Retired, ran for sheriff in Malvern, served 3 terms as the sheriff of Hot Spring County, and retired from that, and went to work for the Ouachita River Correctional Unit in Malvern. I was inmate grievance coordinator there. I've got a Associate of Arts degree in criminal justice, and as I said, I've been over here at ACTI now for 3 years. I'm in charge of public safety and security there. The reason I sought this position is because I'm very familiar with the individuals that are required to provide our city with services as far as firefighters and police officers go. I'm concerned about the crime rate we currently have here in Hot Springs. And we all know that the secret there is by trying to hire, train, and equip the proper officers. I know how many times that I was for sheriff, for example, in Malvern, that I would lose an officer to another department, and sometimes state police because of better pay. But it's critical, I think, for our community to be able to provide these officers with the training, and I think the hiring part is very important, because we like to see these people we hire trained and stay with us, and certainly if we take care of them within a department, there's room for advancement there. I feel like I have good common sense with regards to matters. I don't fly off the handle very easily. And like I said, I think that I bring a lot to the table simply because not only of my experience, the various opportunities I've had in my life up to this point in time, but I'm really committed to the city of Hot Springs and to these people that serve us, and I would appreciate the opportunity to serve on the Civil Service Commission.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, if we have nothing else, I'll entertain a motion to recess to executive board meeting.
I'll make that motion.
Have a second?
Second.
Second? Okay. We'll be back.
Shoot, I didn't know that.
10 after 5.
I call the meeting back to order. The board has completed its nomination procedure, and Mr. Spicer, could you tell us the results?
Yes, for the resolution appointing Mr. James Frierson to the Civil Service Commission will be placed for your consideration. And Historic District Commission will be Mr. Henry Clyde Covington.
Okay.
Those resolutions will be on the agenda for your consideration at the next board meeting a week from today.
Okay.
Thank you. Motion to adjourn, Madam Chairman, be in order?
If there's no further business, I will entertain that motion.
Oh, wait a minute. That's usually Director Jones's motion to adjourn.
She's busy. Go ahead.
busy.
Okay, I move we adjourn.
All right. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
I just let you go
All in
ahead.
favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Meeting's adjourned. Wow.